Today on this episode of Going Deeper, we're asking the really important questions. And that is, why does Jesus still matter today? His death, his resurrection, and everything that goes with it. Why is it such a big deal? I'm your host, Kyle McCaskill.
I'm Mark Burns.
I'm Marie Burns.
So join us as we go deeper. Well, I've got a dynamic duo here. Mark, this is your first chance to sit down with us in the podcast room. And Marie, introduce for real Mark to us because they're familiar with you and some people may not be familiar with Mark.
This is my husband, Mark Burns. He is a nurse practitioner here in town, and he is also the worship leader director of our contemporary worship service.
Yeah. So, Mark, thank you. And for full transparency, this is my in-laws.
Great.
So this is kind of the family podcast, I guess you could say.
Is.
But
It is, yes.
We're just missing Amy.
I am very excited to have both of y'all, and especially you, Mark, because I think that for this particular topic that we're dealing with today, you got some really good insights. And I know you're very thinking, and you have a very thorough way of processing through this stuff. So I am really excited to hear some of what you've got to bring to the table here.
And it's not even my insights. I've processed through it for over the last year, but yeah, totally stolen from people way smarter than me.
But that's the way we do it, right?
Right.
That's the way we do it. So we can focus a little bit specifically on what we find in this book here. They start through the readings doing the arrest. And then, of course, you've got the trial and the crucifixion and the resurrection, and then all the implications of that. But I think we all will eventually, when we are developing in our faith and we're developing our understanding of what these events, these historical events mean, how we do that really affects, in the end, exactly what Doug actually was talking about last week. Who do we say that Jesus is? Mm-hmm. So we've got the arrest, this is the Garden of Gethsemane. Mm-hmm. We've got the trial, which was kind of an interesting thing in history. Mm-hmm. Was there ever a trial quite like this in Roman or Jewish history? Probably not. But so what do y'all have? I know y'all have talked a little bit. Y'all have the I guess the advantage of being with each other in time and space to where y'all can actually chat about this stuff. So I'm curious to hear.
We do kind of nerd out at our house with scripture, and it's been a joy to watch our 11-year-old son start to nerd out with us a little bit. And
fun.
As he has gone through confirmation this year, for him to start really taking his faith for himself, one of the things that comes out of that is kind of, who's Jesus? Well, we've got the Sunday school answer. He's the Son of God. But, who do we say he is, but who does he say he is, and and why is that important? And how is that fleshed out here in, John 18, 19, 20, 21 and why does any of it matter? Mm-hmm. So that's where a lot of our conversation lately has been anyway. And so the timing of this was really great. And I guess I would start maybe with the arrest, or even before then, as far as some of what we've discussed about, who Jesus says he is, and why that matters, and then how is it proven to us?
Yeah.
We can get into the. Do you have anything specific on the arrest that you wanted to talk about?
Maybe not the arrest. Maybe it has to do with what comes after that, more like with the trial. I do enjoy Jesus's quips in those moments of, who I am he, and they all fall back, and then he's like, who are you looking for? We're looking for Jesus. I just told you I'm he. He has moments like that just, I really enjoy Jesus does have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Well,
And that pops up again in the trial, I think, that I said.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think being in Jerusalem, walking at Gethsemane and looking out over the city, like having actually been there and got the pictures to show, one of the things that looking back on the arrest of Jesus that is profound to me is that if you're sitting in the Garden of Gethsemane, it's up on the Mount of Olives,
Right.
and you have a good vantage point of the little valley that's in between the old city where they're coming from and where they are. And it's at nighttime. So what are the soldiers carrying with them?
Torches.
Torches. Are you going to be able to see them coming?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He
Do you
saw
think Jesus knows who's coming? Yeah.
Yeah.
And just over the hill, I've said this in other podcasts before, just over the hill is the Judean wilderness.
Oh, yeah, he could have totally
Yeah.
booked it, and they'd have never found him.
But he stayed. And so to me, that's one of those things. It's like, okay, that's a thing that just hits different when you see it. Even seeing it in pictures and putting that into perspective,
Right.
that it wasn't like they caught Jesus by surprise.
No, he quite literally saw them coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
And stayed anyway, because he had a job to do.
Right, right. And so part of the arrest, part of the trial, a lot of this is actually from an academic perspective to fulfill some prophecies.
Right.
But then also we needed more than just prophecies fulfilled. We needed Jesus to come and be Jesus for us. That ultimate sacrifice and resurrection and finish the job that
Right.
was undone basically in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Well, then we get into the Jesus' radical understanding of who he was and what his mission on earth, to fulfill.
Yeah.
And so I guess that brings us nicely into the trial.
Yeah.
And I like in Mark, in Mark 14, whenever he's before the Sanhedrin, and it says he remained silent and made no answer when they were bringing up the accusations. And again, the high priest asked him, "Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed One?" And the important thing here, and you mentioned this earlier about the Son of God. This is what some of our Muslim friends would say is that he wasn't him claiming to be the Son of God. Well, so was David, and so were other kings, and so were prophets, and they say things like God has sons by the tons. But this is a misunderstanding of what Jesus's claim was. He wasn't saying that he was a son of God. He was saying he was the Son of God in a unique sense.
Yeah.
And he knew who he was in that identity. And you have to take all of these claims not in isolation, but in a fulfillment of all the different claims that he was making.
Yeah.
And this is why I like Mark, because when the priest asks him this question, "Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed One?" And Jesus says, "I am." Now, if you know anything about what that phrase means, and Jesus has already said this to the crowds before,
right?
Whenever they're asking, "Who are you?" and he says, "I am," and then the next sentence they're picking up stones to kill him.
Yeah.
So they know exactly what he's saying when he says, "I am."
Yeah.
And then Jesus goes on to say, "And you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of the power and coming on the clouds of heaven."
Yeah.
That's interesting because he's basically quoting from Daniel and Daniel's prophecy about who is this Son of Man. So going back to Daniel 7, says, "I saw in the night visions, and behold, with the cloud of heaven there came one like a son of man, and he came to the Ancient of Days." So what we have here is two different figures. We have the Ancient of Days, who we can say, okay, this is Yahweh the Father.
Okay, sure. Okay.
So a separate person. Keep our theology correct here. We have three persons in one being. This is the Trinity.
Yeah,
yes.
we are Trinitarian.
Right. So we have a separate person in the Son of Man, and this is a title that is bestowed on to this God figure.
Right.
And we know it's a God figure because it says he came to the Ancient of Days and was presented before him, and to him was given dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom one that shall not be destroyed. And so this Son of Man now has been given titles, attributes, responsibilities that are only attributed to Yahweh.
Yeah.
And so now we have two Yahwehs right here. So we're showing here's where the Trinity comes from.
Yeah.
Right.
And do you think these rabbis, these members of the Sanhedrin, being good rabbis, they knew exactly what he was saying?
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
You know, because this is their Bible that
Yes.
he's now using very particular language from and saying, that's what I'm saying,
Yes.
buddy.
Yeah.
So, like, I hadn't made that connection before.
It's good stuff.
kinda cool.
And there are people who say, well, Jesus never claimed to be God. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, like right there.
Right
He claimed
there.
it like twice,
I
at least
am.
right there. I am, which is what Yahweh says to Moses out of the burning bush.
Right.
When the people ask, who has sent me? Who do I say? What is your name? And Yahweh tells Moses, I am.
Has sent you. Yeah.
I am has sent you.
Yeah.
And so every Jew knows this. This is the title of Yahweh God.
Yeah. Even the rabbi school dropouts, the disciples.
Right.
They at least got
Even
this
they
far
knew.
into
Even
that.
they knew that. Right. Exactly. And what's interesting there too is, and here's one of my rabbit holes that I like to run down.
Yes.
Is this is not okay. So of course, Judaism, Christianity being monotheistic.
Right.
Yes?
Right.
With Trinity being the three persons in one being, there is still one God. We still hear. Is it the Shema that Israel says?
Shall
Yes.
love the Lord your God with all your heart.
No. The Hear, O Israel, the Lord is your God. The Lord is one.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
Okay.
leads into
Yeah,
that.
that's
And you shall.
that's in Deuteronomy 5,
I think so.
I think. Yeah,
So-
that's one of the few that I actually know.
Nice.
So this understanding of this is a monotheistic tradition, of course, but they also still had in the Jewish tradition an understanding of there being multiple persons in that.
Okay.
And you see that, and I didn't go look this one up, but it's talking about whenever Lot and his family are fleeing from Sodom
Yeah.
and Gomorrah, right? And it says in that story, and I get this from Wesley Huff, who is a fantastic, what is he? He's a historian and historic manuscript expert.
Okay.
And so he's talking about, in that it says Yahweh on earth called down fire from Yahweh in heaven. So there was already this understanding of,
Okay.
if anything, Yahweh being omnipresent,
Right, right.
one of the attributes of God. But Yahweh on earth calling down fire from Yahweh in heaven.
Okay.
So-
And see, I think that's maybe a place where when we talk about, the sovereignty of God, the omnipresence of God, the omniscience of God, and all those big terms, that it is very difficult for us to, I guess, really and truly wrap our minds around it.
Oh, yeah.
And to come up with anything that's more than just magic or whatever, which is not magic.
Right.
But then you put the spin on it but God created space-time.
Right.
And so he is not bound by
it.
it. And so yes, in one moment, as we experience it, God can be everywhere because he is not bound by the limitations of our linear existence that we see. And so he is already in eternity.
Right.
And eternity is not a length of time, it's a state of being.
Right. And I think that's something that I don't think, I know it's something that we as humans get tripped up on all the time, is just, we have people who come up against our faith and make these arguments, and they're making these arguments from a linear timeline, and
right, and in that they're making these arguments with the assumption of a God that can be bound by that.
Right.
And as one of my favorite professors says, is Professor John Lennox, who's a mathematician but also a great theologian and apologist.
Okay.
Says that if you're worshiping a God that can be, if your God is bound by his own creation, that's not a God. It's not one that I would worship.
Yeah.
This is God who is, as you said, is outside of matter, space, time.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I like it.
Stuff.
I like
it's
it.
Good stuff.
It is.
So you have the fact that Jesus says, "I am," and you see the Son of Man. That makes a connection now further down the line as he is crucified, and then.
Right. Well, and again, back to with since we're in the trial there, and as soon as Jesus says those two things, and it says that the priest rips his garments, and I don't have all the details of it, but I know that's a symbolic thing in the Jewish tradition, to tear your garments, and says, you've heard the blasphemy for yourself. What more do we need to hear?
Yeah.
And we're going to offer him up for crucifixion.
Yeah, extreme displeasure, extreme disapproval, and like people would, if they vehemently disagree with something, they would rip their garments.
Right. Okay.
So like, I can't believe what you said. It has gotten me into such a tizzy that I'm gonna rip my garments.
Right.
And so I'm sure that there's more to it than that in the historicity of it or whatever. I tried to use a big word. That may have been a failure.
I was processing it. I like it.
But nonetheless, it was something that you didn't see daily. Like if you've got a high priest who's, decorum and supposed to be very stoic and yes, passionate about their faith, but in the middle of the temple, in the courtroom in the temple, and he's ripping his clothes, like that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Well, he believes Jesus just committed blasphemy.
Well, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is maybe important for us to also consider is they are really the protectors of their faith. That is how they see them. And that is the way they've been raised. They've been raised and trained and taught to protect the faith. That's why we have 600 laws. They're trying to protect the faith. They went way off the rails with it. And so they miss what's right in front of them. But I don't know that there's any situation where they wouldn't have, because they were so dead set on making sure that they held to their power. Because not only was it their faith, but it was also their prestige. It was also their control over the people and making sure that you do things the way you're supposed to do them.
Right.
And so Jesus came necessarily to rock the boat and make sure that their whole system was upended.
Right. Well, it's time to move away from that mindset that if I sin, I fix it by bringing a sacrifice. It's a very, in a sense, works-based faith of I've committed a sin, I must bring an animal for sacrifice. And so, they put a lot of parameters around this to try to, technically I didn't sin because I didn't walk this many steps. Like it just gets very, we're splitting hairs over the tiniest things.
Yeah.
but they're trying to do all of their faith under their own power.
Yeah.
And here comes this man who says, nope, not like that. You are hung up on the letter of the law, not the spirit of the law. You can't be saved by the law. You can only be saved through me and my death and resurrection. And you're talking about how many hundreds of years of believing a certain way. Of course they're going to struggle with this.
Yeah. And, there is some validity when Doug says that, Jesus got crucified because he came and messed up their economic system.
Well, that's true too.
That's also a part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's not wrong when he says that, they were selling the things in the temple for the sacrifices, and now they've got this whole way that they make money that is basically null and void now.
Yeah.
Right.
So, it was so multifaceted, the whole thing.
Yeah.
But so I'm going to move us just a little bit on to another question. I want to hear, because I think you're going to have some really interesting takes on this question, is do you believe Christianity is unique among world religions? and why do you believe that?
Okay.
Because I kind of know, like, there's some very specific things about it that really set it apart. But I want to hear what you think.
Okay. Yes, certainly Christianity is unique in that one of the easiest things you could say is what Marie was just talking about. A lot of other religions are work-based, are transactional. We have karma. I do good things and good things happen to me, or I do bad things and bad things happen. I get what I deserve, kind of thing. The unique thing about Christianity is that God has three attributes that on their face would seem to be in competition with each other, mutually exclusive. So you have a God who is just. Okay, God has to be just, and that means when you sin or when you break up a law, you have to have some sort of a punishment. There's some sort of a price to be paid. And that price is paid, and that's justice. But he's also merciful. That means that you don't get what you do deserve. Justice is getting what you deserve, and mercy is not getting what you do deserve. And how can he be those two things at once? It's through grace, which is getting something that you don't deserve. And so with God, the sin that we do, and the laws that we break, that guilt is on us. And instead of acting out his justice on us, the justice is acted out on Jesus. And by his blood, we are given grace, and is the propitiation of sin, I've given him my sin, and he gives me his righteousness.
Yeah.
It's a raw deal for Jesus, but it works out really great for us,
right?
If we, if we accept it, and in that, God remains all three of those things. He remains just, he remains merciful, and he is gracious.
You say that you said it's a raw deal for Jesus, and I kind of like that, but at the same time, it's like
it's from a Shane and Shane song.
But is it really though? Because I mean, yes, it is. So I'm not
right.
saying,
Did you see the Passion of the Christ?
No, it's a raw deal for Jesus.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think from the very beginning, God wanted nothing more than to be with us.
Right.
And in this whole in this whole story of the arrest, the trial, the crucifixion, the resurrection, in all of that, it shows us that that God is saying, I'm going to do whatever it takes
Right.
to put things back the way I really wanted them to begin with. And I hope that you will will choose that too. And us, that is us choosing and accepting the gift and the grace of Jesus. I've often used the three, the justice, mercy, and grace. It's like justice, you sin, you got to die. Mercy, well, you don't die immediately. Grace is, well, Jesus died for you. Yay.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think you had it much more fleshed out than I have put it, but it's that, yes, that's what we have.
Right.
That no other religion, I think.
Right. And so getting back to the question then is that, and that is how Christianity is unique, because if you look at any other world religion, there is maybe one of those or two of those, but never all three together.
Yeah.
So for instance, Hinduism and karma, is justice.
Yeah.
And no mercy. You get what you get because you deserve it.
Right.
With Islam, I believe that there is, Allah forgives sins, but it seems rather almost flippant.
I'd say that's the word I was thinking of.
Yeah. So there's not justice. Allah forgives sins, but there's no debt to be paid, and so there is therefore no justice there.
Okay.
So
Yeah, and there's even some, I would say, versions of Christianity that claim to be Christianity that really aren't, because they're still very works-based.
Oh, very much.
And it's things that you have to do to earn. And I'm not talking about mainline versions like some of the other ones, like the offshoots and whatever. That you don't have to earn it.
Right.
You accept it. You receive it.
Right.
Like you give your son a gift for his birthday, and what good is it if he's like, that's cool, I think I'm just going to set it on the shelf over here.
Right.
Don't do anything with it. But then...
And that kind of hurts my feelings as a father giving the gift to the son, to my children too.
But then at the same time, there's nothing we add to our receiving of the gift. All we have to do is receive it. And I go back to something that this is years ago when I was listening to some podcasts from Matt Chandler, who, not Wesleyan at all, but had some good things to say, that when it comes to this idea of grace, when it comes to this idea of the gift that we get with the resurrection of Jesus, that we don't add anything to it because Jesus did it all.
Right.
If I believe, I can't do anything more than, with my whole being, believe. I can't say, I wholeheartedly believe, I earnestly believe. Yes, you can put adjectives in front of it, and that's fine to emphasize, but you're not adding anything to it. You receive that gift, you get it, and I get the gift and do a other thing that makes the gift better. That doesn't work that way.
No, what comes out of it is, the works or whatever. It's not to gain your salvation. It is because you are so profoundly changed by Christ in you, the Holy Spirit in you, that you become more like the person he created you to be. So out of that come your spiritual gifts and the fruit of the Spirit, that love, that joy, peace, patience. You become that person because you are becoming more like Christ in you. It's not something you do. I can't go be more loving and be more, all these things in order to gain the salvation. It was freely given. Freely I receive it. And if you truly are internal, you want to know if you're growing. This is a question we've been asking around the office: is how do we know we're growing? Is the evidence there? And have I become a more loving, peaceful, kind person, patient? All of those things that we see in the fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
Am I seeing? Are other people seeing these things in me? But regardless, getting back to that, it comes out of freely receiving the gift he gave. We cannot earn it.
Yeah.
But it ought to be changing us.
Absolutely. Well, and that kind of, we can move past the whole crucifixion and the burial, and we can move into the resurrection here to kind of, I guess, wrap up the overall discussion, which this is still probably going to take several minutes, I'm sure, because there's a lot to unpack here with the resurrection.
You talk about what's something that separates Christianity from everybody else. Hello.
Right. There's also the empty tomb.
Yeah. So who is it? One of our former pastors, Chris Hallett, would say, when the body moves, the funeral's over.
Right.
Yes.
And, that's one of the things, you have little things you glean from, pastors and things you hear over the course of your life. And that's one of them for me, one of his little isms.
Yeah, I love that one.
But it's so true, because you could go see Buddha. You can go see where Buddha was buried. You can see the tomb of King David, and we think it's David, but everybody's too scared to open it.
Yeah, it's true.
You can go see the tomb of Muhammad if you're a Muslim. I bet they wouldn't let you if you're not. I don't know that for a fact.
No, I'm not sure.
But Jesus, there's no body.
Right.
Because he got up.
Right.
And I think that trips up some people, because do some Christians, do some people who profess Christianity as their faith really believe that, he physically got up, he did that thing? Or do we think it's just a nice story?
There's hundreds of witnesses to his resurrection, hundreds of them, and it's well documented. Right. But one of the things we were talking about with the, Jesus connecting who he is back to Daniel and Son of Man and things like that is, he said he was going to get up.
Yeah. Right.
He said it. Along with all these other claims about being I am. He also claimed he would get up. Yeah. And he did. Right. So what does that mean?
And so that's kind of the ultimate thing here, is that you have somebody, because as people have pointed out, other people were resurrected through time. We have the story of the little girl. We have Lazarus, that Jesus resurrected. So the resurrection back from the dead in and of itself isn't is while interesting and unique. It's not like it was a daily occurrence, but it was in the person of Jesus. Whenever he makes these claims that he is, I am. He is the Son of Man. He is the Son of God, not a Son of God. And whenever and the Messiah, that he's claiming these titles, and if none of this were true, would be blasphemy.
Oh, absolutely.
And
which is why the rabbis were so upset.
Which is why they were upset. Exactly.
Yet.
Because that was blasphemy. Not the claiming of the Messiah. That was actually not blasphemy. But just the fact that he claimed to be Messiah wasn't why they were so upset. It was because he claimed to be God. Yeah. That's why they were upset.
Right.
And so whenever Jesus dies and then is resurrected 3 days later, like he prophesied on himself to do, when God raises this man from the dead, this is God's confirmation of who Jesus was claiming that he was.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I've been just thinking about a little bit when it comes to Jesus walking around, Jesus being God, walking around on the earth. And we see, well, even in some of the epistles, Paul tells about Jesus laying down part of his divinity, if you will, so that he could walk amongst us.
Right.
And one of my thought processes is that he kind of had to do that, because if you think about it, there was a reason why there was a Holy of Holies. There was a reason why there was a temple veil. And that in and of itself is a little multifaceted, and I've heard multiple takes on it, and we can get there in a minute. But the profane fire that Aaron's sons brought and whatever, we talked about that in the one with the prophets.
Right.
And if Jesus was just walking around the earth, full glory and everything, like people would be dropping left and right. It's like boom, 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 like
right.
There's one thing it's related to all of this. Something that Mark and I have discussed more than once is this mindset that the Father turned his face away from Jesus, and people saying, God cannot be where there is sin, and I think we've flipped that the wrong direction. It's that sin cannot be where there is God.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not God's not the one that's got the problem. Right. It's me. I'm the problem. I walk in to see the face of Jesus with my sin, and I'm gone.
Yeah,
I'm gone.
But now we have Jesus, who upon his resurrection now has the ability to be this Godhead fully present on earth for a time.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe I'm trying to justify it in my own brain, figuring out scientifically how this happened, but how Jesus walks through a door, how Jesus immediately disappears and shows up for somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
Because, there's some weird stuff that happens.
Oh, yeah.
That is very abnormal.
This is after the
resurrection, when he's showing up to the disciples.
Right. But he's got his glorified body at that point. So this is he never did that before he was crucified.
Yeah. He limited himself.
He was definitely limited. Yes.
To I'm going to walk this linear path for a time.
Right.
I'm going to exist in your time and space with you for a limited time.
Right.
Which was his life on earth.
Right.
And I don't know, that's just the way I'm like, okay, so now he really can exist as Jesus in body outside of space-time. Okay, that's kind of cool now.
Interesting,
That's a neat trick, God, I like it.
Our brains cannot fully comprehend.
Right. Yeah, and so that's just one more example, in my opinion, of the way I try to process things. And I try to look at it, okay, am I trying to just explain this away? Or am I starting to understand a little more of the fullness of who God is and really what these passages and what they're showing, it's trying to teach us.
Right.
Not just what happened, because what happened is important.
Right.
But also who God is and how that affects who I am.
Right.
Yes.
And so the last question that the book wants to answer, and I think we're going to be pretty all unified in our answer, but it's on a scale of 1 to 10. What's your reaction to this statement? The resurrection of Jesus literally happened. Explain your rationale, and why does the resurrection of Jesus matter today? Okay. And I think that last little bit really is probably the most important part, because why does it matter? But obviously it's a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Because I mean, you said there's hundreds of eyewitnesses.
Absolutely.
We have the history of it.
And we have, even extra biblical sources, Josephus, Jewish historian, and others. There's lots of different historical documents that we can go to that, at least, if not believing in what the claim actually was, at least says that, okay, Jesus was a real person. He lived and walked among us. He was crucified. He was crucified. And died and was buried. And then 3 days later, he had his followers who claimed that they saw him, interacted with him, ate with him, all of these things. And like Marie was saying, I think no less than 500 claims. And now, so at least historically, we can say that actually happened.
Yeah.
And even if these secular documents don't say that, yes, it was confirmed, yes, he did rise from the dead, but at least his followers said that he rose from the dead.
And enough of them said that he did that they died believing and testifying.
Right, and I think that's the important thing, too, is that so his followers after the crucifixion were scattered. They were scared. Our Jesus is dead, so the movement is dead, right?
Yeah.
And then 3 days later, when they start seeing him and he's appearing before them and he's talking and eating with them and everything, then there was a very spontaneous reversal. And you have all of these people, like you say, who not only are saying, yes, we saw Jesus, and then they're going out and proclaiming this and spreading the gospel, and then to the point of death. You know, this is something I've heard a bunch lately. Nobody dies defending something that they know is a lie.
Right.
You know, so they absolutely believed they weren't doing it because, we're going to start a new religion or we're going to get all this power or whatever. They died believing that they saw the risen Jesus of Nazareth.
Yeah. And what's even more powerful, or just as powerful, you don't die once the false leader of a movement dies.
Right.
You know,
and we've seen that over and over and over again.
And it happened before Jesus. It happened after Jesus.
Right.
It happened in the 20th century.
Right.
It's still probably happening in the 21st century. Sure. Ain't nobody giving a rip about David Koresh anymore.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's over.
Like,
the movement is dead.
nobody is saying, oh, but he really was. He really was. No, they're not. But we have 2,000 years of Jesus positively impacting the lives of billions of people
Right.
around the world. And even more if we continue to live in that.
Right.
Because that's our job, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So why does it matter
And
today?
then why does it matter?
Yeah.
Well, and then so this can kind of borrow back from what even unbelievers would say as far as, okay, well, Jesus was a good teacher, and he taught us to love, and he taught us to, okay, that's great.
Are you going to go to C.S. Lewis?
No, go ahead.
We read it last week.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was in the reading last week.
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis was saying that Jesus either is who he says he is or he's a madman or worse.
Right. And so whenever if you come to the point in your life where you believe that Jesus is who he says he is, okay, so he is the Son of God, he in a unique sense, he is the Messiah, he is the I am, he is the Son of Man, he is the second person of the Trinity, you know, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So whenever God steps down out of his throne, the God that created you, me, and this entire existence, when he steps down and starts telling you things, you might want to listen. And then you can spend your whole life, you know, researching and reading about all the things that Jesus taught us to do. And this is what I stole it from somebody. I don't even remember who I stole it from, but it's Jesus came to teach us how to be human.
Oh yeah.
You know, God created humans to be in relationship with us, because he desires that, because he loves us, and we lost the string at some point, and went off and did our own things, right? Jesus came to tell us, this is how you're supposed to live. This is how you're supposed to be human. This is how you are to be in relationship with God, because that is what you were made to do.
Yeah. I don't think there's really anything more to say about it. Well, Mark and Marie, thank y'all so much for just a really fascinating conversation. And I hope it's uplifting to people who are listening and watching. I'm sure it will be. But I know for me, this topic is so good to just sit with sometimes, and to just turn it over in your head and to think about it and to process all the things through history that kind of culminate at this moment into the fact that God loves us so much that he would go to any length just to be with us, and for us to be able to be with him. Well, if you're still watching, and I hope you are, thanks for tuning in and thanks for sticking with us through this. And if you like the video, make sure you like this and also subscribe to the podcast and to the YouTube channel. Wherever you're watching it, drop us a comment. Tell us something about how Jesus has impacted your life, and maybe something that you might struggle with, maybe a question that has always kind of gotten you like, I don't know what to do with this, because we like those comments too. But with that, I'll say we will see y'all very soon in the next one. Mark, Marie, again, thank you.
Thank you.
And I can't wait for the next episode. Thanks for listening, everybody.